Sorry about that. Okay, this is our second webinar with Vitalia. So please, if you have any questions or comments, don't hesitate to contact us, contact@latamstartups.biz or the hashtag LatamStatus. And again, this webinar is sponsored by Vitalia e-bikes. So to start with this webinar, we're going to go to the first slide here. And in our previous presentation, we shared some of the statistics and the global statistics and what is the audience for some global numbers and how IoT is growing in different markets. And it's clear that IoT has become one of the strongest tech sectors in the last years, impacting several traditional and not traditional sectors. And the growth in this sector so far has been from 655.8 billion US dollars in 2014, expected to get to USD 1.7 trillion dollars in 2020, having an annual growth of 16.9%. So we have seen the major IoT industry is still led by the USA. So far, probably you guys know, if you have been involved with the IoT sector, that USA actually have more than 50% of the market right now in IoT. So this is really something that you know, to consider for the general statistics, that you know the Canada is catching up slowly to be one of the leaders in the market, but it's not quite yet there. It's still followed by, you know, after USA, there are some other countries that also are doing really good in developing IoT solutions, as China, India, Singapore, and South Korea. So between others, and Canada has also developed an IoT ecosystem, but there are several concerns, especially over the network security, with the desire to provide a knockout of blow and a steal market share from the rivals. Cloud computing is starting to show up this year in Canada with big investment from both Amazon and Microsoft that recently announced data centers in 2016 to offer the respective cloud platforms to support IoT. And this one here, we are showing Microsoft because they have a huge impact right now in the startup ecosystem in Montreal. So they are opening up there an innovation center that is actually you know, creating some really good impact in that ecosystem, especially. So okay, let's go to some numbers and to show you know, how it's doing the ecosystem here in Canada. So according with eMarketer, in the past year, the major telecom players, Roger Bell and TELUS, have begun to market IoT solutions in the industry. Wire and wireless connectivity in is the fabric of IoT, enabling constant and real-time data sharing between sensors and connected devices. By 2016, it's estimated that the number of machine-to-machine connections in Canada will have reached at least 5 million mobile connections, and that number will double by 2020, according with the mobile economy in North America in 2015. So in Canada, the percent of IoT decision makers who were interested in adopting IoT solutions was 52%. And from that number, 9% have already an active project in IoT. 11% are planning to have a project in the next year. And 23% are considered to have start some projects in this sector in the next following years. In 2016, it's notorious that the one of four in the marketing executives in Canada has a good level of interest in develop IoT solutions. Some have shown interest in social and location services, others have location-based advertising and location analysis between others. So some of the other sectors developing IoT solutions in Canada include retail, sports, and entertainment. And there is still a work to do regarding understanding of big data coming as part of the development of this solution. So as part of the research that we have done in different sources, either from ITAC that we are going to talk about in the next following slides. There is a big concern about how this data is going to be managed by, the different providers, the different people that are going to collect information from IoT solutions. So this is a big thing that people are in the ecosystem here in Canada are thinking how they are going to handle this big data problem and how they can, create more adjusting solutions from that, from the big data that is collected. So, as many other countries in the world, the fact that cost of connected devices is going down helps increase the demand. This is another fact that is helping the Canadian IoT ecosystem to thrive. According to the IDC report, 45% of the mid to large Canadian enterprises have already adopted at least one IoT solution, while 55% intended to invest IoT in the next couple of years. This kind of is part of the numbers that we gave in the past slide. Some of the reasons provided by Canadian firms to adopt IoT includes the reducing cost and increasing productivity and efficiency. In overall, IoT shipping in Canada has raised to incredible rates, 20 million devices just last year. So here in this slide, you can see that we have some of the numbers that we were presenting in these two other segments about the social location services and the location-based advertising. This is kind of like the numbers that eMarketer has right now about what kind of solutions Canadian companies are looking forward to develop in IoT. And the next one comes to ITAC. See, according with the Information Technology Association of Canada, ITAC, this association is looking towards the future, and in particular, the organization will pay special attention to cybersecurity, IoT, and the cloud. Moving forward, ITAC CEO mentioned it, that ITAC wants Canada to be the leader in those three sectors. Considering that cybersecurity, IoT, and cloud computer are all integrated, but as well different topics, ITAC wants to be the intermediary to help the Canadian government and their members at ITAC to create a standard and policies for these sectors. Regarding IoT, ITAC has released 2 white papers calling the attention of the government to adopt a national IoT strategy. So this is really important right now that the Information Technology Association of Canada is actually stepping up and is showing some interest that they shouldn't be in these gray areas right now to develop cybersecurity and IoT and cloud computing. So as they mentioned it, these 3 sectors are very, very integrated. Even, artificial intelligence is there as well as part of these 3 sectors that are developing really fast, and they are combining strategies, all together. So if you are here in Canada right now and you have seen different events around IoT, you will see that there are several topics related with cybersecurity and with the artificial intelligence as well, because it's all kind of like one part of the IoT that is also developed. There are Although, as they mentioned, there are different sectors, it's still very well integrated. We've shown in the last webinar that actually in the USA, for example, 45% of the customers for automobile, they won't buy a car integrated with internet or IoT services because they believe that there may be some private, problems. They have concerns about that. So the level of concern here in Canada is quite the same. People feel like this is a great thing happening in the market. IoT is really growing, it's super fast, but as well there is from the consumers, there is some kind of certain problems regarding private and security for their solutions, the solutions that they are using. And as per the last note in the inform IoT time for a national discourse, ITAC mentioned it that Canada can be a leader in the IoT, but it will require to share information, meeting challenges of the IoT head-on, and about stakeholders in a national conversation about the next evolution of internet. So this is really, really important. But we would like to pass to some example of the great solutions we are now looking at here in Canada regarding IoT. So to present some examples of companies developing IoT, we can see, for example, what Nature Fresh Farms in Ontario is doing with a smart building. So greenhouses are equipped with sensors to help ensure perfect tomato growing conditions by automating the opening and closing of the building windows and curtains, and turning up or down heating systems. Nature Fresh is also using sensors and automated systems to feed and water plants, and thereby optimizing resources while maximizing yield. So this is a clear example of one solution that integrates different sectors. This could be called also agrotechnology. And we have seen that there is a big boom in agrotechnology, but it's clearly that they are using also IoT to develop what they have right now. So it integrates different kind of technologies and is considered here IoT, but for other countries and sectors, it is well considered as well agrotechnology. This is one of the examples. We want to present another one that is actually also here in Ontario in Waterloo. So in Waterloo, as I just mentioned, intelligent mechatronic system has created unconnected car platform that helps insurance companies reward customers with lower rates by monitoring and providing feedback to improve driving habits. And IMS technology is also being used by business owners to improve fleet management by reducing idling and providing greater visibility into corporate vehicle usage patterns. So now this is a sector that certainly is growing really fast with IoT, which is the automobile sector. It's incredible, but this sector really has a great potential for Canada and as well for some countries in Latin America. And we would like to speak that in our next webinar, actually, because in Mexico, for example, there is a big automobile industry as well here in Canada. And this industry is growing really fast to provide IoT solutions for the new vehicles that are coming to the market. And as you could see, there are also integrated solutions that are not seriously they are not totally part of the vehicle really, but they are kind of integrated into. So this is a sector that is booming up. in IoT, and certainly will have a bright future. They still, again, have some concerns about how they are going to handle private and cybersecurity, especially when it comes to cyber attacks or third people managing things there. So Canada is projected to be the leader in the industry. And from the challenges the country faces right now to develop a strong IoT startup ecosystem, the one everybody's paying attention is in the security concerns, because you need to make sure the communication you're receiving wasn't intercepted or altered, and that the information that you are acting upon is real and accurate. A corporate security framework needs not to only protect traditional devices like PCs, tablets, and smartphones, but also has to make sure everyone of the on the connections from every one of the sensors of devices are also secure, so that it can be assured that the information being received from a device is valid and not intercepted. So again, this is the greatest concern for all people in developing IoT solutions. This is the current question in the market regarding IoT. People that are developing cybersecurity solutions can integrate these solutions to IoT, and that will be just the greatest part to develop a great startup ecosystem here in Canada. So at this point, those are the numbers that we have regarding Canada and regarding the state of the IoT startup ecosystem here in the country. As you could see during the webinar, we have many type of similitudes between Canada and Latin America regarding the numbers and how the ecosystem is growing towards IoT solutions. The only difference that we have is that in Latin America, we don't seem to have that special concern for privacy or cyber attacks. That we have seen those numbers are very low in compared with North America. So Canada certainly is ahead of in the startup ecosystem in IoT in compared with Latin America, but it's still very below to the US, who's actually leader in the market right now. We hope that Canada, with the new laws and the new actions from ITAC and some other players in the market, will catch up and will become one of those leaders, again with China, Singapore, India, and the others that we were showing there. So if you have any questions or comments at this point, please contact at latamstartups.biz or the hashtag latamstartups, and we're happy to provide any answers for your questions or your comments. And again, we thank you, Vetelia, for sponsoring this series of webinars. And while we receive some questions or comments, we would like to remind you that next Wednesday, we are going to have a panel with some experts from IoT sector from Canada and from Latin America. And again, this webinar is free thanks to Vetelia e-bikes. So if you want to be part of the conversation with these experts, please just sign up in Eventbrite and we will be happy to integrate you in the conversation. Also, finalizing the campaign of IoT in the Spotlight, we have the LATAM Chats. LATAM Chats is in Twitter. We like to chat with startups that are developing IoT solutions and learn about also their challenges and opportunities they have in the market to actually grow their business or scale up to different markets. So if you want to be part of the conversation, just please hang out with us on Twitter through the hashtag LATAM Chats. So this is it for today. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. special workshop coming up. This is in person in Toronto. If you guys are in Toronto, LATAM 101 is happening on the 22nd of March, and you will have there like a really overview of Latin America and the tech sectors, and we are going to talk about different countries. This is a workshop for an hour, and we are going to have a special case study there from a Canadian company entering to Latin America in tech sector as well. So thank you so much for your attention. This has been your host, Miriam Lazarte. If you have any questions in the future, please don't hesitate to contact us. Thank you for being here today with us. Bye now.